Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. I have my most favorite fabulous friend here, Debbie Frank. Woo! We are here to talk about the astrological excitement.
It is.
It
It
seems
is
like
an
every
exciting.
month is very exciting.
It's a super
Um,
exciting year, really.
It is, and I know that some of you have commented about how we try to spin what's most positive. It's you can go anywhere for doom and gloom. Okay, you really can. We are trying to find what is in the highest good, and the highest good for anybody watching this is not for us to instill more fear and
Mm.
more. You know what I mean? We're showing you what really is there, but there are many energies that are threaded into the fabric of our lives. And Debbie and I are looking for the ones that you can hold on to and create something really good and beautiful from that. So yes, we skew positive, but we're not fluffy bunny, right, Debbie? No,
So we're not whitewashing. I
no,
mean,
we're
for
not.
me, I believe astrology is a healing tool. So even in, the darkest, there are always shades and nuances, light, dark, grey.
Yep.
And we have to look for what is the opportunity in the crisis, which is a
Yes.
Chinese saying, Wei Qi. They're together, and crisis comes with opportunity. It always does, because it makes us shift, makes us think. So, this is very, very important to reframe our challenges and our difficulties and look at them as sort of pivotal points for us to move forwards in our lives and to start to think differently. Otherwise, we just stay stuck.
And we stay on the wheel over
Yeah,
and over again. One
yeah,
thing, so this is what you get from me and Debbie. All right. So every month, that is what we are here to do.
yeah.
So this is our focus, to look for those things, to help you reframe whatever crisis that you can't put your head in the sand. Life is changing dramatically everywhere, and things are quite difficult for a lot of people. But this is all part of this evolutionary process that is bringing us to something quite extraordinary. But it's in the in between where people freak out. So do know that every month we are going to look for that which is going to be in your highest good, in our highest good. And we are looking for the nuance. We are looking for that light. Where's the thread that you can
Yeah,
hold on to and move yourself forward with less fear and less drama and less of all that?
exactly. Yeah.
All right, Debbie, tell us
Right.
about May.
Okay, let's go. Well, once again, like the month of April and March, we've got profound shift. So this time we're looking at Saturn changing signs, moving into Aries on May the 25th until September the 1st. So it's just like a short little preview. It's 2026 when Saturn will be kind of moving in for 2.5 years. But I think what's important and fascinating about it, stepping into Aries, it is for the first time in 29 years. So it's going to take us back to 1996, 97, 98. If you can think back what was around for you, if you were on the planet. I know perhaps some of our people weren't even born then, but if you were and you can remember, it's worth having a look, because it's not going to be an exact repeat, but there's a sort of nuance of it. So we've got that. So we've got Saturn and Neptune are going to be in these early degrees of Aries over this period, which is really exciting. And they're getting kind of closer and closer. They're sort of eyeing up each other, if you like. They're in the room, right? But they're going to fuse together in February 2026. That's really going to be the big one at 0 degrees Aries. For the moment, they're just kind of, sizing each other up, looking at each other. But we're sensing this energetic shift. We are.
Can I
Also,
ask you, what does
yes.
that mean? Let's talk a little bit about what are we sensing? So when is the energetic shift, the Aries energy, what is the kind of flavor of that, so people understand it?
Yes. Well, Aries, of course, is our first sign of the zodiac. It's very much about, the courageous spirit, being bold, being brave. And you might think, well, Saturn there is like putting the brakes on. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's about focusing that Aries drive and, making decisions, basically. It's kind of standing up and being counted. being very purposeful, and don't forget,
Intentional.
Neptune's there at the same time, which is more of this sort of spiritual warrior energy. So they're both there together, Saturn and Neptune. And, to your point, yes, we could look at, well, Saturn and Neptune are, a bit of a downer energy, but I don't think they are.
No.
I think that it's about really finding in ourselves these ways to kind of create a spiritual practice, this kind of thing. And
intentionality, right? It's about intentionality around your spirituality.
Totally. Yeah, I really do. So I think that's what's really important. This month, same as every month, we get a full moon. This time in Scorpio, intense Scorpio, that's in the middle of the month on the 12th. So in the sign of the most powerful transformation. So that's going to help everyone to purge out those things they need to let go of. And of course, it's Taurus season. But what's fascinating is May the 17th, the sun is passing across Uranus, which has been in Taurus for the last 7 years. So the Uranus and the sun are together, and that's like a light bulb moment. And it's actually the last time that these two planets are going to meet for 84 years. That's really interesting, isn't it?
So explain that again. So what does that mean? What can we expect?
What's being stuck? Because Taurus is about holding on. We're very attached. We're in our comfort zone. And Uranus is like, no, here's the epiphany. Here's the light bulb moment. It's all going to happen. So no matter what sign you are, you will get that sort of electrical charge, if you like. It's going to come to Gemini season, of course, on the 20th. So I call that the social butterfly season, time to mix and mingle, get out and about with your contacts and make new friends. The new moon in Gemini on the 27th, fantastic time for planting new ideas. That is really a new moon of intention, because Gemini is about what you're thinking. So I love that one for planting new seeds to happen. Yeah.
I love it. So let me ask you a couple of questions, because what I'm tuning into, and we're going to go through each sign too, like what can we expect? And Debbie's going to mention, and then I'm going to pull a card to kind of put a little bit of an asterisk, or what do you call that again? Why can't I remember what this is? An exclamation point. Put an exclamation point. Yes. I'm like, what does this mean? We don't use the terminology much anymore. Anyway, so we want to have that exclamation point, also a little bit more of a reflection. So we are talking to the individual and how you manage within the collective experience. So Debbie just talked about a broader experience that like everybody's going to feel it. And I know that we all do. So, when this leaves, so now all of a sudden, what is the sun? Is it Sun Uranus that you said? Yeah,
the 17th.
That's amazing, right? It'll never come again for 84 years.
84 years.
Well, in 84 years, but I won't be alive, likely.
We may not be around.
No, some people will.
Well, we'll be discussing this in other realms, won't we, Colette?
Right, we will. I mean, exactly. Unless I haven't reincarnated as a Pomeranian. Which I really want to do next time. And get an owner like me. Anyway, so I'm really getting that there is this surge of energy, and maybe it is because of the Aries energy that's entered our story.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that Saturn is there, because Aries energy can also be quite impulsive, right? And so this helps us be very intentional and look at, and even when people hear the word warrior, like I think that I am a spiritual warrior, but my fight is much different than fighting against anything, right? It's more about welcoming in, my fight is against my own comfort zone and the need to control, etc. Exactly. So it's a spiritual warrior understands flow, right? It's not, you know what I mean?
It's not confronting other people. It's not
different.
No, it's not about starting wars. Spiritual warrior is different.
Which I think is, go ahead. So let's talk about Aries.
Okay, well, so obviously from May the 25th, I'm going to start off with this, even though it's quite late in the month. We'll go back in a minute, but May the 25th, bring that in your diary. Saturn moving into your sign. It's going to show really what you need to work on. That's what Saturn always does. It's like flagging it up. It'll become obvious. It's very clarifying. It's like, okay, this is what the next curriculum is, if you like. I need to deal with this. No matter what sign, everyone will feel that. But you as an Aries in particular, it's going to be kind of on your case. It'll be so obvious, so crystal clear. So it's kind of like, this is my next challenge. That's what you're going to be thinking. So let's reverse back up to the early in the month. On the 2nd of May, we've got Venus and Neptune together in conjunction in Aries. I absolutely love that. I think that's really dreamy and romantic. Again, this is the first time that Venus and Neptune have come together, because Neptune's just moved in with you. So none of us, or none of you, have experienced this, because Neptune moves even slower. It's 165 years. So wow. Here we are. Let's have a look at what dream you're dreaming early in the month. I think that's a super cool aspect for you to have, and it's softening. It's really quite gentle. It's lovely. So on the 12th, then we get the full moon in Scorpio with a side of Pluto.
Side Pluto. Just a little bit of that.
Yeah, because we got
death
Pluto
and transformation.
It's more of that scorpionic feeling. Pluto is the Scorpio planet. So I am a Scorpio. I'm not scared of Scorpio energy. I love it. So it's just an opportunity to have a clearing of what isn't for you. So let's do that, Aries. Let's just get right behind it. It's like, what is the point of keeping all that sort of attached clutter when in fact we could eliminate, that's a very good scorpionic word, and kind of get on with stuff. So I think that's a very good thing to bear in mind. Middle of the month, and then towards the end of the month we get the new moon in friendly Gemini on the 27th, and that's really going to make the world your oyster. It's all about your positive connections. This is about who you're talking to, what you're talking about. So Colette, what have you got?
That's so great, because the exclamation mark are these two cards. So the not for you card. So these are the two themes. I'm taking two cards, and I decided to do them for the whole month, even though I split them.
Good idea. Yeah.
So there's two main themes. One of them is discernment about what you don't want anymore. So it's like the purge that we talked about earlier. In your case, it's what has kind of stood in your way, or not just, oh, I don't need this anymore, because we tend to say that a lot, but it's much more the Aries is like, you know what, this dream was an old dream. This is not my dream anymore. I'm having a new dream. And so I'm saying no to the old dream, yes to the new dream. But part of the new dream is pruning. Like I'm going to prune the tree. Then you have come to the edge, which is about risk taking. So this is about, I am going to take action on this dream. I'm going to have the right connections, which happens at the end of the month, right? But I'm going to really line things up in a way that is intentional, and also there, I talk about something called compassionate prosperity, where we consider how our creations impact others, or could possibly impact others. And so there's this automatic kind of undercurrent of that this is in service to the greater whole. And it's why it feels so big for the Aries personality for this particular month of May. So yay, Aries, go for it.
Yeah, love it.
Clear the clutter and take action on that new dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Taurus, well, we are in luscious Taurus season, which we all adore, but of course it is your special season, and one where you recharge your own solar power, which is great. So this Venus-Neptune conjunction has a very drifty quality early in the month on the 2nd. It may be even an area of nostalgia, or we could look at it as a spiritual rebirth, which would be quite cool, wouldn't it, Taurus? So I love that, and get you primed, prepped and ready for this wow factor full moon on May the 12th, which is in your opposite sign of Scorpio, the relationship zone. So it's going to activate whatever has already been going on in relationships, because one thing about full moons, they don't often bring in something out of left field. They bring in the conclusion, the culmination of what's been brewing in that moon cycle. So there's going to be some big exchanges, decisions. As I mentioned, on the same day, we've got this side dish of Pluto against Mercury in your sign. So you're not in the mood to mess about. You want to tell it like it is. I think that's really for a good thing. It's a time of honesty, isn't it? Which is good. Yeah. But gird your loins, Taurus, for May the 17th, when the sun meets with electrical Uranus in your sign, as we spoke about for the last time in 84 years. So it's a kind of wake-up call, at an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone. Now, I would say there are very few Taurians that haven't already had the alarm call go off several times. You may have pressed the snooze button a few days, but you've really got to get out of bed now. And so May the 17th is, you know, that time, and it's very exciting to kind of start to think, you know what, it would be brilliant to do something new. It would just be such a liberation. It would give me a new lease of life. So it's all about going with that, getting behind it, really. And as Saturn moves into your next door neighbor sign of Aries on May the 25th, that's in very much your sort of inner sanctum place in your chart. So I think that's an opportunity for you to do the inner work. You don't necessarily need to shout about it from the rooftops, Taurus. It's all about, you know, as we touched on, spiritual practice, you know, things that you're doing to just sustain yourself, mind, body, and soul. So I love that too.
That's great. I love it. So what's interesting here is about truth be told is right, telling you the truth
to
yourself and to others. And I think the spiritual work that Debbie just mentioned towards the end of the month is about self-honesty. Rigorous honesty will set you free, right? And you might have pressed that snooze button and got into a little denial, like, you know, that's not happening, or, you know, I don't want to see that. And now you have to, and but it's so liberating for Taurus to get out of that comfort zone. Now, it's interesting, two cards stuck together when I chose them. So I am going to read both of them, and these guys stuck together. One is imagination, and the other one, it was imagine and clean it up. Right. So this is about kind of in the beginning of the month. I feel the minute you started talking, I felt like a Taurus in a swimming pool going like this, right? On their backs going, I like it.
Venus, Neptune,
the Venus, Neptune. Like I'm in a yummy place. And then it's like, but I really have to clean some shit up here. But it's not hard. It doesn't feel hard. It feels like you already know this and you're done with yourself. It's like you're sick and tired of being sick and tired in this one little section of your life. Where you're just like, I'm done. And I think it's fascinating that many of us, I'm going to see what happens with the rest of the signs, but I really think that that's a big theme for everybody in this month of May.
It really is.
Let's hear about Gemini.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Gemini, when it's Taurus season, it's a bit of a low season. You know how they talk about this in the travel industry. Well, it's your own, very own low season until the sun moves into your own sign. But, you know, that just means being a bit beneath the radar, which is absolutely fine. Put out the do not disturb sign, Gemini. And, you know, it's very powerful to go quiet. That's the thing. You know, Gemini, you're always talking, you're always in it. But actually, sometimes we give our power away by talking too much. So just steel yourself to kind of go within and keep your thoughts to yourself. That way you can create beautiful things. And you'll come through once Gemini season starts with a much sort of more poised and greater idea of exactly what it is you want to say. So the full moon, which is here on the 12th of May, is a big kind of cleanse and detox because it's in your zone of health. And there is this feeling with the Mercury, your ruling planet, squared up to Pluto, that you might want to have some words with people. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? We don't want to be kind of going off the deep end with our words, but we want to have words that are truthful. And ultimately, Pluto is the planet of truth. So it's like not fudging it anymore and just saying what needs to be said. I think that's a good thing. So we've got the internal epiphany happening on the 17th with the Sun and Uranus meeting. And I think that is, you know, really good for sort of activating something in you, which knows that, you know, in fact, Uranus is going to move into your own sign this summer. So, you know, wow, what a time that's going to be. We'll be talking about that, won't we, Colette? But I mean, for now, you're just kind of getting it. It's a bit like, you know, the plane is boarding. Start to think about what
Right.
right? So Saturn's move into Aries for you guys. This is sort of over the summer, and it's to do with friends, alliances, and it's because it's Saturn, it has to be for a common purpose. This isn't about mindless socializing. It's about, you know, let's get people together for a reason. Okay, so it could be events, it could be work oriented, or that you've really thought about it. It's not so much a case of the more the merrier with Saturn. It's about, I'm going to choose who I want to invite to this thing, or where I feel I really belong and want to fit in. 27th, the new moon in your very own sign. That's absolutely great. On that day, Mercury is in a beautiful link with Pluto, and it kickstarts a new cycle. It's self-awareness. It's you kind of thinking, this is who I am, because Gemini is about how you present yourself in when it's a new moon in your own sign. And, you know, you've got like this amazing portal in a way to actually kind of, or platform, I prefer as a word, platform to actually put yourself out there. So terrific.
Oh, okay. What you go, terrific. Excellent. Okay. So I actually chose 3 cards for this sign today. The story made more sense once I chose a 3rd card. So some of these readings are going to have 2 cards, some of them are going to have 3. I'm just going to read the way, because the cards are actually opening doorways for the story for me. I'm not actually reading the exact card, but so we have go the distance in the protection position. And this always means to be reminded that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And so Gemini can be quite quick, but they're meant to be a little bit under the radar, right? Because it's not high season for Gemini, right? So slowing down is actually beneficial. So remember, things will get done. You don't have to, the first 3 weeks of this month, you know, you can be percolating on who am I, what's meaningful to me, etc., as opposed to being out there going like this, which is true. And time for a nap was in the protection position. And it can be enough whenever this comes in this position for me, besides the other card, it can mean depression. It can mean exhaustion. It can mean I'm tired of hearing my own voice. It can mean, you know, it can mean I need a timeout and I have been overproducing and I'm becoming an empty well, right? So it's asking Gemini to get what you need, you genuinely need, especially at the beginning of the month. Now, it's interesting, when I chose the 3rd card, immediately it was regeneration. Who is the me that is truly me? So if you look at the art on this card, there's this kind of a beautiful sense of light coming up through the ground, bringing this tree back to life. And so, and new buds on it. It's like your own spring for Geminis, right? So, yeah. So it's really, I'd say it's a profound month, as long as you don't let yourself burn out.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So true. So
We are a good team.
Venus and Neptune are on your midheaven May the 2nd. So this is creative aspiration and inspiration. And it's kind of like showing your style to the world, because it's very out there on the midheaven. Everyone can see it. So it could also be, because it's Venus, the planet of love, the relationships, you're kind of front of house with that. You know, this is who I'm with. This is my new partner, whatever. But, you know, this is my style and I'm doing that. So there's a lot of that kind of wonderful, beautiful feeling going on. The full moon on May the 12th. Well, Scorpio is your fellow water sign, or sometimes I call it the sister water sign.
Yep.
Deep, passionate, it's in your 5th house, it's tapping into your creativity again, and it's the power to manifest. The 5th house is about what brings you joy. And then, well, this Sun-Uranus meeting for you guys, May the 17th, it's like, do you want to be with the old crowd? I don't think so, Cancer. A time to break free. Uranus is saying a little bit, dare I say the word, bored here. You know, I've done this all before. I know we get very attached as a Cancerian, but, you know, let's bring in some fresh air. Let's break free, new people, new interests.
Yeah.
And then Saturn is going to arrive on your midheaven, which is really exciting, I think, on May the 25th. And this will enable you to have a stronger hold on your place in the world. I'm thinking about the pincer grip. Do you have the pincer grip over there? This is what they teach little kids, how to hold their pencils. And the pincer grip obviously is very Cancerian. So you're going to hold it correctly, your place in the world, Saturn on the midheaven, so that everyone knows that's what you do and that's what you're all about. And then we have the new moon, 27th of May. So, you know, that's a one that's in your very spiritual 12th house, where you might want to retreat into your shell, dive into your shell for a little bit, go within, only to replenish your soul. And that's it. You know, the crab is an amphibious creature, spends some time on land, some time on the sea. So you spent a lot of time out in land. You need to get back into the sea, just float around for a bit, just around that new moon time.
Love this. So it is really uncanny because I choose the cards as I'm listening, and I just ask, you know, Spirit, pick the right cards.
Yeah.
And they talk almost identically about what you are talking
Love
about. So I don't know why I'm always shocked. I've done this for, I
it.
don't know, 36 years.
Very affirming, isn't it?
So soulmates come up for Cancer in the month of May. Now, and when I talk about soulmates, yes, we could be talking about our partners, but soulmates are also our best friends and
Yes.
our animal companions and the
Yeah.
people we genuinely love. And this is also the people who are there that see eye to eye with you, but that are genuinely there. They see you accurately. They love you without conditions, and they're there for support too. So this highlights that for Cancers this month. The second card was hang on, so what's the second card? Whoopsie. Community, which is really interesting what you were talking about, saying, you know, well, you know, am I bored? Right? Because then you got happy. So I did, again, 3 cards. So I'm like, right, am I happy hanging out with these people? Like it really is a need for something new and an understanding. But and then of course, happy is that genuine sense of feeling. I remember you said you're going to know who the pincer, like who I genuinely am. And you know what's really interesting is, so I'm launching the Certified Intuitive Coach program in May at these dates, and which is really genuinely everything that I've done. I'm giving away. I'm going to be 67 this July, and I'm giving everything away basically that I've ever done with other people. I'm going to show people who want to know what I do, and you go do it. And because I feel it's time to pass the torch. This is my year to do it.
Lovely.
So it's so perfect to this.
Great.
Right. Anyway, let's talk about Leo.
Okay, well, Leo, the Venus Neptune, it might be a kind of romantic getaway really for you, or just dreaming of escape. But during Taurus season, obviously you still have to think about where you're scaling the heights, because we're climbing up to the midheaven at the top of your chart. So it's about positioning. So one part of you is kind of thinking, oh, I'd love to just get away from this for a bit. And another part of you is saying, well, hang on a minute, I can't do it right now. It's full on. I've got to be there. Later in the month, on the 25th, when we get Saturn moving into Aries, this is about an education. Isn't that interesting? How we think about that. Doesn't have to be a formal education, but how all sorts of things in life educate us. We're on a learning curve. That's where you are. That's where you're going to be over the summer. And there might be travel involved too. Now, the 12th of May, with a full moon in Scorpio, home and family are definitely going to take priority, but just sort of like, it's like almost like a string that kind of pulls you back, and then you boomerang, because the 17th of May, then it's back to the outside world, onto the midheaven as the Sun and Uranus join up there. And this is your opportunity for fresh starts about who you want to be in the world. Lots of changes, exciting things. So I genuinely think this is a fantastic opportunity in terms of your work-life balance and, you know, what you really want to do, what you genuinely want to do. So 27th, with that new moon in Gemini, this is about the seeds of an event or a gathering. It's a new moon. Often, don't forget at new moon, we can't even see the moon. It's invisible because the sun and the moon are so close together. They kind of blank each other, it blanks the moon. And it's only a few days later when the crescent moon, we start to see it. And the moon goes on its way through the next moon cycle. So from the 27th, you're sort of, perhaps thinking, yeah, I'd really like to talk more to these people or this person. I'd like to get them over. I'd like to exchange ideas. So have a think about who's around towards the end of the month and who you might want to explore ideas with.
So Leo has two really unique cards. So they're together as exchanging gifts and blessed. So this is really, that new start you were talking about is the idea of recognizing that there is a blessing inherent throughout the entire month. If you're willing to take a look beyond the egoistic piece of this is what I want from that perspective, but this is what I genuinely want, which is really going to bring you the most success. And also to recognize that you absolutely have something to offer other people. And I love that, the exchanging gifts. Who am I going to talk to? At the end of the month, specifically sharing that with others. But I will say this, if a Leo is going to launch anything in May, you are going to be very blessed with some pretty tremendous success from that, because you're really going to finally get who you are, why you are, and what you have to offer. And it's pretty spectacular.
It's a fantastic launch pad, May, for
the
Lions, definitely. So Virgo, well, there's a lot here about money as Venus and Neptune are joining forces on the 2nd of May. But it's also about trust. Do you want to continue pouring money into something? Is it really worth it? It's that kind of thing. But it's Taurus season. So in many ways, Virgo, it's time to get on really with the rest of your life, because this is about your zone of adventure. It's not so much about ruminating over the past, but thinking, okay, where do I want to go next? What does my future look like? And what else is there for me to explore? So the Scorpio full moon on the 12th is about completion and conclusions of a project, not perhaps without its sort of tense moments because of the Mercury, your ruler, squaring up to Pluto on the same day. So obviously, you have to stay grounded. It's something you do very easily. And you might be the voice of common sense in this. You might just think, oh, everyone's kicking off about all of this, but we've got to reach the decision, the end result. And, everyone had better listen to me because I've got discernment on this and my feet are on the ground. May the 17th, the sun in Uranus, you're going to feel a bit restless. And of course, Virgo, you are what's called a mutable sign. And the mutable signs are highly adaptable and they are a bit restless by nature. So where do you want to go? That's what it's really all about. And there might be a bit of a surprise trip. We know that you love to plan everything to the nth degree because Uranus is involved. Taking a bit of a flyer, quite literally. So this is about something or somewhere else. And on May the 25th, as Saturn moves into Aries, this is about you wanting to get back into the groove. Saturn is holding you into building up long-term security. So that's going to give you a lot to get your teeth into over the summer. And May the 26th, May the 27th, I love this new moon because it's on your midheaven and a new moon is new. So again, all eyes are going to be upon you. And there's this, again, fantastic launch time if you're launching something into the world or having a new idea or some kind of new string to your bow that you're taking out into the world. So it's good.
I love that. So we've got yang and happy again, like what makes you happy, and taking the energy towards it instead of ruminating is pretty much the theme in May. But also it's, when these cards come, the question is, what is it that makes you happy? You said something about concluding things. You might be putting closure on a part of your life that is now ready to move on. But you bless it. You want to bless that. You want to say, what an extraordinary experience. I've grown so much. It's time for me to take the next step somewhere else. And yang is all about the action and instinctive action too. It's not about exactly what you said, ruminating and, and navel gazing and wondering. It's more like, what, I'm just going to go do this. And there's much more spontaneity for Virgos in May.
Yeah, it's liberating, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, so Libra, well, it's May the 2nd, Venus Neptune conjunction in Aries, your opposite sign. So it's about being very open. But I would like to say to you, Libra, don't forget to have some boundaries as well, because Saturn's moving in here, don't forget later on. So don't go, yes, 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 and then you have to backtrack. Just sort of put in a few punctuation marks. The full moon on May 12th in your next door neighbor sign of Scorpio, in the money angle. I think at this point, and this is quite sort of different for Libra, but you're going to be thinking, you know what, what's mine is mine, instead of what's mine is yours. And that's not a bad thing. Okay, you don't have to share everything, Libra. It's about what do you want and what do you need. And the 17th, when the Sun and Uranus get together, yes, there's that little bit of sort of volatility. I mean, as a Libra, and you like your scales to be balanced, but you know, it might be that someone tips your scales. That might be because there's an offer coming. Wow, it might be something you'd never thought of, a surprise that comes in. But anyway, start to think about things differently. And of course, the big arrival for you is when Saturn enters the building into Aries on the 25th. It's huge, especially if you have a September birthday. You're entering decision time in relationships, and it's really about where do you stand? What do you want? Saturn obviously is a planet of commitment. Do I want to be committed to this person? Am I going to, you know, make a commitment, or am I going to check out of a commitment? I mean, it doesn't have to be drama. We're not looking, but you're just kind of evaluating everything. Okay. Don't forget, Saturn's just here until the 1st of September. It's going to go away again. Then it's going to come in 2026. So it's really just giving you that opportunity to start to think, okay, there is a decision here which will firm things up, shape them up, which has got to be good. The new moon on the 27th in Gemini, fun. I mean, brilliant. And in the 9th house is very much about more to life. There's more to life. That's what you're getting hold of. So let's go and explore it.
That's great. So Libra, this is about asking your why. What's my why? Why am I with this person? Why am I saying yes when I really can't say yes? Why, you know, why do I get myself into a position where I've taken on too much and I lack balance? Because it is about being self-responsible. Like Libra saying, you know what? No, like you said, so it's okay to say like, you know what? That's mine. I'm not sharing all that. So that can cause you some inner turmoil. So the chaos and conflict doesn't necessarily speak to the outer. I mean, because I think we have we can all agree that for the next number of months, there's going to be that kind of chaos and conflict. It's just part of the collective. But this is you. So this is about moving beyond and evolving beyond that internal chaos and conflict that you have when you bump up against your own fear of setting a boundary, fear of saying no, fear of, you know, all of those things. Like, so you get along because you want to avoid conflict, but it actually creates conflict inside of you. So this is a really great month for you to take that part of you by the hand and say, you know what, you've worked for me up until now. I'm not going to stop being a Libra, but I'm going to stop being a doormat.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely. Brilliant.
Scorpio.
So Scorpio, well, we're in Taurus season. So this is about the big reveal in relationships. Mid-month, obviously, with the Scorpio full moon on the 12th, we might be really looking at full disclosure or a turning point in terms of your interactions with others. Deep feelings are going to surface, the truth about how you feel. So things will no longer be under wraps because you have such deep feelings, Scorpio, but other people, well, they're not necessarily psychic readers like you are, so they can't see how you're really feeling. So with the Scorpio full moon, you'll be able to actually let those things out. Just make sure you let them out safely. But on the 17th of May, well, then you get the reaction, Sun and Uranus in Taurus, a plot twist here. The ball at that point is in someone else's court. This is about what you're looking at in another person. So you'll be responding to them. First of all, they're responding to you, then you're responding to them. But hey, isn't that what relating is all about? So time to refresh things, really. And I actually love this Sun Uranus in Taurus. I mean, again, it's the last time they're going to meet in Taurus for 84 years. So what could you do here that you haven't dared to do up until now? Just sort of, you know, think again about how you want to be and how you want to be with someone. Saturn moving into Aries on the 25th for the summer, into your sixth house, upgrading your system. This is about health. It's about the way you work. I would say it's about routine maintenance. You know, I love that phrase for the sixth house. It'll do all those things, right? The little checkups. And then the new moon in Gemini, proposals and prospects of all kinds. That's
Ooh, I love that.
about
I
that.
love that. You have quite a juicy month ahead of you.
Yeah.
So the first card I got reminds all Scorpios to have a sense of humor this month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You deep, dark, meaningful, big feeling people. It's have fun and laugh at yourself too. That's
Yeah.
The
Get
liberation,
positive.
right? The liberation is also about allowing yourself to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
It is a month of liberating. It could even be sexual liberation or you know, some type of you know, tactile thing that you need that you've been too scared to say to somebody, like, you know, and say, I like this, and you've never said it, and they're like, I wouldn't have known that, right? You know, it's like
Okay.
very
Right.
obvious moment of, well, you know, but there's also that whole sense of not being afraid to take action. And most of my Scorpio friends aren't afraid to take action. They do a little simmering though. And it's funny because I'm here in Portugal and in my astrocartography, I'm Scorpio rising here. So I'm really tuned into this. But the Yang card is about being mindful of your actions, but being intentional about them. To liberate yourself, you have to have intention to reveal, right? Intention to reveal. TikTok is in the protection position too, which means you're not running out of time. Like it doesn't all have to be done in May, right? But you have to start thinking about these things, about who do you want to be, you know, and how do you want to get your needs met? And, you know, it wasn't just the sexual piece that I said, but it is about in any way, you know what I mean? People cannot read your mind the way you can read people because all Scorpios have this innate quality.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to tell on yourself.
Yeah. Well, Sagittarius, it's Taurus season, which brings the sun to the lifestyle area of your chart. So how do you want to live, Sagittarius? It gives you so many options. The Scorpio full moon is a great chance for you to just get rid of those things that you don't want to include in your lifestyle. And on the 17th, an opportunity to kind of shake things up. A radical change. I mean, being a Sagittarian, you tend to go all out anyway, let's face it. But I mean, with the sun in Uranus there, it'll be like, I'm never going to eat that again, or whatever it is, whatever it happens to be. Saturn moving into Aries on the 25th. Well, I really love this for you. It's about grown-up relationships. What is love? Responsibilities, commitments about love, children. This is also your inner child and actual young people. So Saturn here is about being playful, but doing things kind of on purpose, if you like. So there's going to be lots there to keep you busy over the summer months. The 27th of May is the new moon in Gemini, which is, of course, your relationship zone. Time to reach out, to take relationships in a new direction, or maybe even meet someone new. Why not?
Love it. Love it. So of course the people card is the community card. That's come up first. It really is a more social month. It's requiring you to reach out and meet new people. It's even though we typically see that in, you know, when it's the Gemini season, but it is saying to Sagittarius, you know, this is this time for you to meet new people and ask yourself why you are where you are, and be in the observer as well, right? Observing yourself from that really neutral, loving space to say, okay, like, am I happy with this? How am I bringing happiness to others? With, you know, is this a good exchange, and just feeling good and recognizing who needs to go too. I think that's also important, because when you meet new people, you're not going to have space for everybody. So I think that's kind of organic for you this month in May. Is that organic shifting of who you're with, and really being excited about new people.
Absolutely.
I like
So
it.
the Capricorn, well, it's quite interesting actually, because initially on the 2nd of May, we've got this Venus Neptune, which is in the sort of home and family area. And you might be a little bit kind of so adaptable that it sort of feels a bit out of character. And then you're going to do this flex about home and family by later in the month, when Saturn, your ruling planet, comes in here. You're going to be actually, no, I want to lay down the law. This is what we're focusing on. Here are the boundaries. This is the rules and regulations. I'm teasing, but you know what's putting some structure in here to your home life. So I think that's quite amusing, really. In between those 2 points, and of course, it is Taurus season, very fertile ground. And this is all the areas for you to enjoy life and perhaps even experience something of a rebirth. So don't forget, this Sun Uranus is about discovering the fun of being spontaneous, Capricorn. Who knew? Give it a whirl. And the 27th, with the new moon in your 6th house, you come back down to earth again, and as you always do, and that will feel lovely as well.
I love that you said "who knew," because this is what this card says. Who knew that you could do that? So when Yin, which is the card of receptivity, is in the protection position, it's coming, it's saying, well, you're usually the one that likes to control things and also to observe and to experience. But now we need you to get out of your comfort zone and take a step.
Yeah.
Who knew you could go to the dance?
Yeah.
Right? Who knew that you didn't need to control that? Right. So Capricorn is going to experience that this month, which is great. And you will bump up a little bit by the fact that you like things organized the way you like them. So by the book is about, but this is how it's got to go up the mountain, right?
Yeah.
And luckily for you, you don't have to do it by yourself, because a leg up reminds us that help will come. You're going to be surrounded. It does feel quite social, even that, it's a funny. I don't typically look at May like that, but it does look like this for pretty much everybody, that like it's new relationships and people coming to help and structure being not just you, it's a we. I feel this month is very we, as opposed to me, I.
That's lovely. Well, Aquarius, our water bearers, of course, there we are with Pluto now firmly ensconced in your sign for 20 years. But on the 4th of May, Pluto is going to go retrograde all the way through to October. It gives you a little bit of a breathing space where you just integrate the sort of powerfulness of having this planet in your sign. So that's good. That's the sort of ebb and flow. It's the in-breath and the out-breath, but you're just sort of relaxing a bit more with Pluto. On the 12th of May, the full moon is on your midheaven, and that is a really big power push into the world. I love that. On the 17th of May, with this Sun Uranus, we're shifting towards matters that are close to home. And maybe because, of course, Uranus is your ruling planet, you're not going to want to be on repeat. You're going to want to do something really quite different. So watch out. Those who are living with an Aquarius, they might be in for some real, kind of wild card energy about what they want to do in this middle part of the month. Saturn then moves into Aries on the 25th. This is about focusing your mind, simplifying, clarifying, getting rid of all the distractions, which is very, very important, so that you know what you really want to focus on. And the new moon in Gemini on the 27th, your chance to party like a rock star, Aquarius. And if you don't want to do that, well, how about co-creating with the universe?
Yeah, love that. So the thing to watch out for Aquarius this month is repeat of the past. So it's like, if you see yourself sliding into something you've done already that you didn't like, don't do it. You will have an opportunity to say no, which is really great. So it's like rewriting a story that you get to do this month. And this is about work too. I think that it can be about, the chop wood. What do I do on a daily basis? But what do I do on that daily basis that gives me joy, that helps me help others, that helps me contribute? It's about contribution. So the wild card could be like, well, I'm going to change it all right now. An Aquarius can just go, I'm going to do something else now. And the deep knowing. So Aquarius is very gifted with intuition this month. You are going to know the real truth for you, and you'll have the wherewithal to act on that. And other people won't be able to see it coming.
Love that.
It could
That's
be,
why they
really fun.
they love it. So keep everyone else on their toes.
Love it.
So Pisces, well, it's fascinating, isn't it, that these sort of slower moving planets are moving out of your sign. So Neptune's just moved out of your sign, having spent 14 years with you. And as Venus and Neptune get together now in Aries early in the month, this is the money house, and you'll be shaking your piggy bank and going, hang a minute. Is money slipping through your fingers? What's draining you? Like, what could you get hold of here and save and contain? That's really what you want to do when Venus and Neptune are there. It's showing you. Saturn is just spending its final few weeks with you before its summer break. It's going to move into Aries as well. So time to sort of tie up a few loose ends. But on the 25th, Saturn will move into Aries after 2.5 years with you. And this is about reconstructing your financial security. It's about, net worth and self-worth. Are those two things, actually connected? They shouldn't be. Your self-worth is not dependent on your net worth. Your self-worth is always the most important value of you. So that's what you're going to be looking at over the summer, starting this month in May. Meanwhile, the full moon, well, this is in your 9th house, deciding where you want to go. If you've been umming and ahhing, because Pisces rarely make decisions in a hurry, they want to sort of have a look at all the options. And I think that full moon will be sticking the pin on the map and going, yeah, let's do it. Let's go there. And the sun in Uranus on the 17th is really going to spark you. This is about a change of perception, which dear Marianne Williamson would define as a miracle. A miracle equals a change in perception, which is what you can do, Pisces, on the 17th with that sun Uranus. On the 20th, Saturn, just before it moves out of your sign, is making the most marvelous link with the sun. And that's a really great day to sort some things out, or just basically give yourself a big pat on the back for what you have sorted out, feeling good, feeling grounded, all those good things. And the new moon on the 27th, time for you, Pisces.
Love it. So this is interesting. Round and round in this case means do what you know works for Pisces too. So do what you know makes you feel good. You know already what it is. You don't have to come up with something new. You have the blessing to make a choice. So just like Debbie was saying, so you have the card blessed. I actually chose 5 cards for Pisces. Message in a bottle is like, I get the vibe, I get the call, I get the conversation. I'm going to go there, right? Where you say, you pinpoint it. So it does feel quick, right? There's a quick phone, somebody phones you, you get that message and you say, I'm doing that. Great. So this is also about doing the thing you wanted to do and you didn't do it before because you always had something or you didn't do it on time. Too much. And this time, that's the other round and round piece. It's like, I'm going to do what I didn't do before. Right. So you get a second chance this May. A leg up means you don't do it by yourself. And by the book, and protection is you can do it your way. Right. It really is that liberation from others' expectations of you.
Yeah. Oh, how gorgeous is that? Isn't
that
a
great month for everyone? Yeah,
I really like May. Looking forward.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Me too. Okay, everybody, we love you. Debbie Frank here, DebbieFrankAstrology.com. You are taking readings.
I am. And if you need any clarification on any of this stuff, that's what I do. So please get in touch.
Yeah. Great reading too. I just recently had another one. It was really fantastic. She's the best. All right, everybody. Bless you all. Take care. We'll see you next month.
Bye-bye. Thank you.